Oh, we are live indeed. The screen just told me, so it must be true. I'm here with Jeff Bowman, ready for some wisdom is what I'm here for, mate. This is what you come in. Look, I could just have you in here because you look so slick with that haircut. I mean, come on. Or I could be here grabbing some great knowledge from you when it comes to the world of finance. The man who is, well, you are the power behind Wealth by Design, mate. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much, Aaron, and lovely to be here.
It's lovely to have you. Full stop. I want to jump into things today because I know you've been knocked around weather-wise, and you had a bit of a lurgy, which is terrible.
I did. Yes, slowed me up for a couple of days, and might
yeah.
be some remnants in the tone.
Oh, keep that to yourself if you could. It will keep you all the way over there. The reason I mentioned that, I mean, it's a strange thing, I know, to go straight to, but there's a reason why I've said it. Is because if you plan your finances well, okay, you can actually plan for this sort of thing. You've got passive income, things like that. You're financially looked after. You're not relying on that having to be at work every single day. Because look, life throws some challenges at us.
It does. It does. Yeah. In fact, I mean, as many of the previous listeners would know, I had a financial planning business for many years.
Yeah.
And insurance cover was a very important part of that.
I can imagine. Yeah, sure. I mean, if you're injured or health thing comes your way and you're out for a while, you'd want that cover.
You did, yeah. I mean, God, I didn't claim on a lot myself, but I broke my shoulder surfing at City Beach one day. And,
look at you, Mr. Super Athlete. Look at that.
Yeah, bit of body surfing. The wrong wave got me, and so broke my humerus.
Right.
Not that humorous.
Not at all.
But yeah, I was laid up for about 3 months. And,
wow.
So it pays. It paid sort of 2 months in advance of my income protection policy, which was, I don't know, about $8,000 a month. So got 16 grand plus a bit more. So over 20 grand for.
Well, even forgetting about the amount, I mean, the fact is you're going to still need groceries. You're still going to have to make the car, payments, whatever all the fees and costs that are part of everyday life.
Yes.
So having that protection, just knowing that it's okay to be sick, mate, or injured or.
Look, it happens. It happens,
does.
Aaron. You know, in fact, I've just had a client come back after 30 years.
Really?
And said, look, can you help out? Because basically 30 years ago, he was a big smoker and he got throat cancer.
Ooh.
And the income protection insurance covered him for until such time as he was probably on cover for about a year. But he's never forgotten. He says, it actually saved me from going broke. And he had mortgages and small kids.
How real it is, yeah.
And he's back now, poor bugger, because his radio treatment for his throat cancer, which enabled him to get an income protection claim, will now qualify him for a total and permanent disability payout.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So he's going to be 65 next month, and the policy expires then. So we're busily getting the paperwork together.
I can imagine.
Pick up another couple of $100,000 for his total and permanent disability.
Well, again, and this is a good thing about I know you don't give advice, and this is obviously not a financial advice, but show. But okay, you've got knowledge. You can actually hook him up with the right people, right? You a bit of a facilitator, I guess.
Bit of a fit, yeah. But of course, some of the things you can do without being a financial advisor. For instance, the total and permanent disability claim we'll handle that in-house.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm glad you clarified because I don't really understand what
you don't need to be a financial advisor to handle an administration function, which is really just working through all the paperwork, lining up all the medical reports, dealing with the claims managers and the trustees of the super funds.
Right.
You actually don't need to be a financial advisor for that. So we've continued to do that work since we sold the financial planning business, and it's just a big hard job to do, especially mental health claims for TPD.
Oh, well, it's so overwhelming, mate. And mental health, exactly that. Like when things are beating you down, to have somebody you can hand that work to, that's a big advantage.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah, look, it saves people's. It saves their lives. I mean, we've got the go ahead now for a backdated group salary continuance, which is sort of a corporate income protection policy.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad you converted that to English for me. Appreciate that very much.
I know. Yeah. So, which is they left the employer because they were ill.
Okay.
They should have claimed, but they didn't. They weren't advised by the employer because the employer probably thought their premiums might go up. You don't know why they didn't advise their client to how you should put in a claim, but they didn't. And we're able to go back 4 years now to when the actual disability first occurred.
Right.
We started off at 2, and now we've got it back to 4.
Okay.
So they're going to get 4 years of backdated income protection payout
That's
figure.
brilliant.
So
That is
like,
just brilliant.
so yeah, like so at 6.5 grand times 12 times 4.
Okay, so
Big number.
we're $280,000. I
Yeah.
think off the top of my head.
Big number.
Unless my maths is
Yeah,
terrible.
spot on.
Yeah.
And it's a 5-year benefit period.
Okay.
So they'll end up getting about 385K. And
Life changing.
it's just absolutely brilliant because this person cannot work again. We've already got her 2 total and permanent disability payouts,
Okay.
totaling about 700 grand. Yeah, so she'll end up with about $1 million.
Okay.
And
that's enough now to put a deposit on a house about 2 or 3 hours out of Perth. It's great.
Yes, or pay off their current mortgage.
I joke and I jest,
or
but
plan.
This is the thing that this makes real life, and I totally joke about that. But paying off your mortgage, taking that pressure off you, is a massive. It's just the weight off your shoulders, the freedom it gives. It changes your life. And if you've got a big injury, you've had some sort of illness that's taken you out of the workplace, having these things in place is, it's make or break.
Totally, yeah. I mean, this person was a big high income earner in a big firm in the terrace, and mid 40s, or you're 41, and you're told you can't work for the rest of your life. Ooh. So you're expecting. You got 2 or 3 small children. You're expecting to be putting aside super with your income for the rest of your working life, but all of a sudden that happens, and so a payout like that basically makes up for a lot of the income that you were now not going to get. Yeah, and so we've got some great plans there. We'll probably end up setting up a self-managed super fund and probably getting an NDIS property, which pays about 14-15% net yield.
Now, you talked about this last week. That'd be great. Can we re-go, and talk about that again?
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think that this is, we do get a lot of people who ask us questions about the NDIS, access to it. And this was something, before you spoke about it last week, I'd never heard of it. Okay, great. Yeah, no, well, NDIS is a sort of a $50 billion cost to the taxpayer, as we all know, introduced by the Morrison government. Yep. And continued on with the current Albanese government. And so it's really split into 2 sections. You've got the SDA, which is the stands for Specialist Disability Accommodation. Right. So there's a massive allocation for that. And then there's the other allocation for the services for a qualified applicant, as the disabled people are called. Okay. And that separate stream of allocation of NDIS money is for occupational therapy and transport and full-time carer if that's required, blah, blah. So we're just dealing with the property side. Yeah. Because we've got a lot of pre-retirees that are looking at, and they're sort of like late 40s, starting to think about, will I have enough money in super to retire? Yeah. And many will go, look at this really hard. No. And so the NDIS property investment opportunity, we're just specialising with self-managed super funds, is really where the super fund can generally afford a deposit of around, say, 35% of $1 million property. Okay. Then 350 grand. Maybe another 50 grand for stamp duty. So you generally need, say, 400. All right. But we're working on more competitive terms. So at the moment, we might get down to 250. Wow. So between 250 that's a big difference.
To 400. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah. There's another lender we're talking to, because you've got to be able to fund the construction. So basically, the super fund, via a trust, you can put a deposit down via the super fund, go and borrow the money to build the property, 750, 800 grand, brand new purpose-built NDIS property. And then that property is set up via our SDAs, our specially disability accommodation licensed government bodies that have all the applicants. Right. And they get paid by the government. They're the middleman. Okay. And so they receive the money for Freddie, who's qualified for $80,000 a year rental allocation from the government. Okay. Ranges from about 50 to about 95K per individual. Okay. A lot of money. I'm straight. For the rent. There's extra for their services. And so that means that when you add that rent up, I mean, we're finalising one this afternoon, actually, when I get
Right.
back to the office for a go. So it'll be a $1.1 million property. He'll put in 380K deposit out of his super.
Right.
He'll end up with about 233,000, 223,900 of rent.
Okay.
Paid for by the government. There'll be 3 disabled people plus a full live-in carer. So 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom, this one.
Right.
And then there's about 40K worth of expenses. So he'll end up with about 180-ish net coming into the super fund, paid for by the government, indexed at CPI each year.
Sure.
Pretty good sort of tenant to have.
It's a brilliant tenant to have. I look at, I know a friend who has property with the Defence Forces, right? And he just knows that he knows the quality of the renter, because they're in the forces, they're kind of regimented people. They that they look after the property. But he doesn't have to worry about the payments because it's all reliable, right? So it's reliable income.
Yes.
It just, in that particular case for him, it's been winner all the way.
Winner, and it's and we had those clients in our financial planning business.
Right.
Great deal. Net yield between sort of 7 and 10%.
Yeah. Well, there you go, because he just talked to him recently. He's making a clean 9%.
Yeah,
as reliable sort of.
And that's fantastic, because you're getting nothing with money in the bank.
Sure.
And your yields on your super funds are probably 3 to 4% with equities. So that's a great deal. Plus you got the value of that services property. Armed services property is going up in value.
Of course it is.
NDIS is no different. It's just because it's a specialty area, and these disabled people, the government have pretty well decided they want to engage the private sector to provide the housing.
Yeah.
So the government are providing the rent. In this case, 223,000 rent for the $1 million property,
sure,
or $1.1 million property. Okay. After expenses, 180K, and so that will basically pay this guy's debt off in 5 years.
That's amazing.
I know. So within 5 years,
you think about it this way, right? Yeah. Okay, imagine paying your mortgage off in 5 years. Just think about the freedom, the financial freedom that would give you. Now, I don't know, and certainly I would never give financial advice because I'm certainly not qualified in any way, shape, or form. But I mean, to do this with smart, intelligent decisions that get your tax down, and a lot of this is getting tax down. So there's the added benefit there as well, right?
Yes. Oh, totally. Yeah, like super. Many people don't appreciate that super actually is simply a tax product.
Yeah, well, see, I never thought about
it's just a tax
until you said that to me once, and I thought, well, that makes sense.
Because a lot don't understand that they can actually choose what asset allocation they can have in their super. Like they could choose 100% cash if they wanted to, or 100% equities, or 100% property, or do a blend, or a mix, or a balance. They've got that choice, and so people's super funds will probably be fairly heavily weighted towards property if they take on an NDS property.
Of course.
But hey, if it's getting that sort of yield.
And a lot of people want to feel that security. Yeah. Okay. So look, I know there's higher yields out there. I totally understand that. But with it's life's a balance, right? And you've got to look at the risk. And if it's safe as houses, quite literally, then you're happy with a more conservative return, I would tend to think.
Totally. Oh yeah, you are. You're going, well, if I can get 150 grand a year, retirement income, tax-free through my super fund, happy days.
Very, very happy days.
I mean, if you're debt-free and you're married off your kids and you've done everything, well, you're in the top, 3 to 5% of income earners in the country. So
catch me in the Maldives.
Yeah, that's happy days.
Absolutely. See
you on the cruise.
Now, I see we've got people online watching away, and some comments coming in, and I thank Lisa for your very effective maths there on 5 years of that investment. So really, it's great.
She's onto it. Yeah.
Absolutely onto it. But those who are watching who have questions, because I sit here and I've got my own questions, and things that people talk to me about during the week, I like to bring those forward to you as well. But ultimately, Edge, we obviously love our interaction. So if you have any questions, throw those on. We're obviously on so many different socials at the moment, obviously on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, yada yada yada. It's all over the place. So we love the comments that come in, mate. And what an incredible situation you have to be able to have somebody with this wealth of knowledge and be able to ask to have access to you, right?
Yes.
Now, I mean, I know that you've got a fantastic product. I know that you can actually book 15 minutes with you, which is how much?
Zero.
Exactly.
Zero
right?
cost.
So, how well am I doing here, right? I get all this, great knowledge without having to go through any rigmarole whatsoever. And certainly, like we were talking about on previous times we've chatted, that like the financial world has very much been priced out of the realm for most Aussies, right?
Yes.
So to have this opportunity to be able to send questions through here or to book a 15-minute appointment with you, which you can just do through your website.
Absolutely.
Or you can obviously contact us at Edge and we'll hook you up at edgeradioaustralia.com. Look, we can do that. This is a great privilege. Tap into it. Make use of it.
Yeah, Wealth by Design is one word. Wealth by Design.
Yeah.
.com.au.
Actually, it's down there at the bottom of the screen. So
it is. Yeah.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, nice and easy. It's just tap one of the calendar links and book in a time.
You make it very easy.
It's tech. Modern tech.
Modern tech. All right. Yeah.
Great when it works.
So many buttons, so little time, mate. Absolutely. All right. Well, as I say, I'm very happy to see that those people are getting online and really actually, what have I need to wake up the mouse. There we go. Now, yeah, so I will bring that little comment up if I could. There we go. Now, Lisa, and that was the figure there that we were talking about before. So
yeah. So pretty simple numbers. I mean, if your industry super fund or your BHP super fund or whatever, if you think it's a bit short and you've got sort of 8 to 10 or 15 years left before you want to retire, so now's the time to really start doing the numbers.
Now is the time.
Yeah, it is.
Like, okay.
Because a lot of people have been using 6% for years.
Okay.
You go, well, what's 6%? Well, if I've got $1 million in super, 6% is 60 grand.
Yep. Could you live on 60 grand?
I could. Yeah. Could you live on 60 grand? And that will largely preserve most of the capital in the super, right?
Sure.
Because the yields say when you add back franking credits and stuff, close to 6%. Okay. But the NDIS thing has really changed. Is a game changer because that's actually double.
Okay.
It's 15%.
Okay. Right.
So your services houses you're referring to earlier, around the 9% net returns, fantastic. But if you've got a higher yield, like 15%, then you only need half the capital.
Of course you do.
Right.
Yep.
And so
and also it gives you the option, sorry to interrupt, but it gives you the option then half the capital. You could do that on multiple investments, right?
Totally. Yeah. Look,
and then you're spreading your risk,
yep.
right? You're obviously getting a higher output as well. So
totally. Yeah. I've just got off the phone just before I joined you today, Aaron, with a builder who we're having a meeting with next week. And yeah, so he's just completed a small development in Northbridge.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're around 750 to 800.
Okay.
One tenant, rent's 110 grand. So less than expenses of about 25 grand. Okay. Still netting 14%. But that's so you could get going. You could get two of those.
Of course you could. Yeah.
And so that's a nice addition to our broad-based range of services that we offer through Wealth by Design, because we'll probably even have a situation where some of our disabled people who qualify for a total and permanent disability payout may well also qualify to be a tenant or an applicant for the NDIS program. And at the same time, you need to be able to help steer them in the right direction to the right people that can manage their money. Yeah. And if there's financial planning advice specific with their super, then we've got the right financial planners involved that we refer that work to.
Sure.
That work with our group. And it's also interconnected. As long as you've got the right people, the right connections and the right will, you can generally deliver the right results.
I thoroughly agree. And like just in the last couple of days, for my own personal sort of front, I've been filling in some paperwork. Okay. Government carry on, all of the business kind of rubbish that you have to go through, right? And I'm telling you right now, like it's so time consuming, and also it's not my area of expertise, right?
Not the area of most.
No.
Yeah.
So like I'm looking at this and they're using terms I don't understand, and I'm a reasonably intelligent fella. I can get the right shoe on the right foot, but ultimately that's not my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
So I think about the time that I waste on these. If I could just literally go, okay, can I deal with somebody who understands this game, right? Boom, outsource that. It is more intelligent. It's a far greater use of my time. And also, I'm going to get and tap into the knowledge, right?
Totally.
That's the thing.
It's breaking down the barriers, and the barriers are the knowledge barriers. So if you can bridge the knowledge barriers or bridge those gaps, it really saves people a lot of stress, anguish, and actually allows them to get stuff done. I mean, we just had a guy come back to us with some updates the other day. He was a claimant from about 18 months ago. Truck driver, 44. Saw one of our ads on one of the social media channels. I think it might have been Facebook, I think. And he was actually in hospital at the time because he has a condition called colitis.
What's that?
Colitis is a disease of the colon.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
And
Doesn't sound fun.
It's incurable. This poor devil he'd had over 15 operations.
Wow. Okay.
And he could never drive a truck ever again. He was a full-time truckie. He'd been driving trucks since he was about 16. I think they get their license a bit earlier in North Queensland.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're bang on.
I think it was 6. And up to early 40s, and then it just could not drive a truck ever again because you're ill and you're in bed, often in his case, like 2 or 3 days a week. Okay. And so just getting that 250K TPD payout it's just taken a lot of pressure off, because the poor fellow had been through a divorce and stressed out to Billy O, like into the men's mental health department, like it was in a bad way. And so it's been great. Yeah.
I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, it's actually, funny enough, I've got a real affiliation with truckies. Truckies work really hard, and like they are very much the backbone of this country because the size of it. We all depend on these goods and services, and without them, and the sacrifice that these men and women make because they're away from their families for a really long time. We don't celebrate the truckies enough. And I've known so many of them who are just such great people, right? And I have heard of too many who have had injuries that have ended their career. And you're right. Like, I mean, funny enough, you mentioned Queensland. One I know, Queensland truckie, I think he did get his license at 16, right?
Probably.
So there you go. Just fantastic, absolutely fantastic fella. And, got to his, I think, mid-40s, big injury. Okay. Truck related injury at work, all that kind of thing. And it's over.
Yes.
Okay. Because, he's been doing the same occupation for all of those years. This is the only thing he knows how to do. I'm sure he could reskill and that sort of thing, but he's in pain every day.
I know.
Right. So you can go, look, he can go get an office job. Yeah, he could get an office job. But for a start, I mean, you're changing your lifestyle so completely. And also the pain that the man's in.
Yes.
So having income protection, having a path forward, knowing that you've put your super in a way and you've organized your tax to maximize your retirement. Well, your retirement might come a little early if you look at it that way.
Yeah, right? Yeah, absolutely. And you can cut a lot of things off at the pass because of bad information. A classic was last year. We had a referral to me from a finance broker referred this client to me from Karratha.
Okay.
And poor devil had just been diagnosed with MND, motor neurons disease.
Oh, dear.
Right. So it's a death sentence.
Yeah, it is.
Average life expectancy 27 months from diagnosis.
Poor fella.
He actually phoned the insurance company, explained to them that he'd just been given less than 2 years to live.
Yeah.
And could he please get his insurance claim paperwork sent to him? This is before he knew about me.
Okay.
And it came in, and it was just so horrendous, the paperwork. He thought, I need help with this. And then his broker suggested me.
Okay.
And I had a look at it, and I'm going, the girl at the front desk of this insurance company, which will remain anonymous.
Yes.
She sent him the TPD paperwork.
Right.
Right, total and permanent
Yeah.
disability.
Yeah.
Now, it would have qualified for TPD, but the guy was under 60, which means he's under retirement age, which means there's a tax applied up to 22% on a TPD payout
Whoa.
if you're not reached your retirement age. Because his doctor had said he'd had 2 years, less than 2 years to live,
Mhm.
he actually qualified for what's called terminal illness,
Right.
which means his death cover, which was also 560,000,
Okay.
560 death, 560 TPD.
Mhm.
His death cover can be paid out in advance, and there is no tax on death cover. So the girl at the insurance company, when he phoned up, just didn't know a job.
No.
It was even explained to her
Yep.
he was terminally ill. And she should have said, oh, this is terminally ill. We'll send the terminal illness paperwork, not the TPD paperwork. But, oh, no, she sent the TPD paperwork. So if he'd gone ahead and done that on his own,
Of course. Yep.
he would
As
have
he would.
copped a massive tax bill.
Yeah. He
Totally
would.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And am I right to okay, so if that's we're talking about what that's $1.1 million essentially, right? Okay, at 20%, I mean that's over $200,000.
yes, be
right?
mindful you only get one, you don't get both.
Okay, so
Yes.
okay,
So
that's what I was
you get your death cover
asking.
paid out
Gotcha.
in advance.
Yep.
That kills off the TPD.
Right.
Unless you're paid for extra TPD, which is very
Okay.
rare
Okay.
that we find that.
But even on the 560,000, we're still talking about well over $100,000, right? Which is
The 550 grand in this particular
Mm.
case all comes tax free.
Yeah.
So that means there's like he'll save 100 grand in tax.
Yeah.
That's your point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you're thinking, got to work with my mind. my friend.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
got to
yours.
mine.
Yeah, exactly right. You're the man who understands it. I don't. But I think, and when you're thinking about your family, okay, and the poor man has just had a death sentence. Okay, like I can't imagine the pain he'd be going through, and the things you'd be as a dad. You think as a provider, as a protector, you're trying to then you've got that amount of money, and you're thinking, okay, how do I best prepare protect my children or my wife, whatever the case may be. You'd be thinking that way. You wouldn't be going, hey, Bahamas hero, come.
Yeah.
So
I know that's very, very
is,
important.
Yeah.
And the other trap is if it's a big payout, sometimes the advisors or whoever's, giving advice on TPD pay, because it's not just our company, plenty of companies do it.
Of course.
Some will say, look, do you want to take the whole lot out? Like there's $1 million here. Can I? And they go, yeah, of course you can. Just tick the box, take it out off super, because they don't have to. They can leave it in super. And there's a bit of a trap there, because if they take it all out and they go, oh yes, well Flossie needs a car fixed and we need to do a cruise and rah. Before they know it, they sort of get the Hollywood sort of lotto mentality going.
Yes.
And the money disappears pretty bloody quickly. And so people like us who are onto it, and we're not the only people. Very good financial advisors out there that do this work.
Okay.
We'll go, hang on a minute. Let's just leave as much in super as we can, because if we take it all out and you change your mind, you want to put it back in again, you'll have problems with caps, like the caps that are placed on contributions to super, right? So it's now $30,000 a year as a tax deductible contribution, or $110,000 a year non-tax deductible. Okay. And so there's a limit on how you can put the money back in. So if someone all of a sudden takes their money out, they pay their tax and they get their 500 out or $1 million or whatever, and they go, oh, I should put it back in. They're going to be restricted on how much they can get back in.
Of course they are.
And so just traps like that they've got to be aware of. Once again, getting back to the knowledge.
Yeah, well, spot on. Exactly right. Yeah. And tapping into that, because otherwise we're sort of heading through the ocean without a rudder. And this is when it comes to your finances, like it's funny. Okay, well, it depends which way you look at it, but you go and you get yourself a health check, right? Okay, if your car is problematic, you see the experts in those departments.
Yes.
Isn't it funny, in the world of finance we don't? Like, is there some sort of wall there?
I know. And you almost wonder if it's a bit of a conspiracy, I mean, it's still not taught in schools.
No. Budgeting. Look, what is the difference between fact and conspiracy, right? 6 months. Okay, that's pretty much in the world we live in at the moment. So, but you're right. Why is it not taught in schools?
Just basic budgeting. And before we would even see a client, we'd generally send them a nice little Excel spreadsheet, and we'd say, righto, what's your gross salary? Oh, righto, and they'd give us a figure, $4,000 a month, and we'd go, is that before or after tax? Oh no, that's what I get in my take-home pay. But I said gross. Oh yeah, what's the difference? Like,
yeah, no, most people
90,
don't know.
90.
Yeah.
So we'll do basic budgeting for people. We do that today because we don't need to be a financial advisor for that. So if someone phoned in and said, oh, look, can we come have a chat for 15 minutes? I said, yeah, sure. Why don't we do a bit of preparation work first? We'll send you a little simple Excel spreadsheet.
Yep.
Fill it out. What's your tax? What's your total income? What does your boss pay you? $100,000 a year. Okay, is that with or without super? No, it's I get super on top. Oh, cool. Okay, so it's 100. So we'll put 100 in the spreadsheet for them. And does your partner work? Yeah. My partner does part-time work and earns $35,000 a year.
Yep.
Great, that goes in. And so we'll just start with that. We'll say, like, send it out and say, look, fill that in, upload it, and then when you have your 15-minute no cost or obligation chat with us, at least we'll know whether you're saving money or not because you've done your budget.
I'm so glad you said that because you've actually answered one of my questions. You've stolen my question here. Come on, taking my thunder.
Read your mind.
Because what I was thinking is okay, 15 minutes is a valuable amount of time and you want to use it well, right?
Yeah.
So it would be terrible for me to be just bumbling my way through. You do the actual prep. You send out this first. You have that in front of you. So you're actually getting a lot more than 15 minutes. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Well,
you could do an hour or so of preparation.
Sure.
And really nail key points during that 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because we do charge for proper meetings and proper, education sessions. So you get 15 minutes for free, but you're not going to get all the goods for 15 minutes because it's impossible to do that. And
couldn't do it in 15 minutes. No way.
And no one works for nothing, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
and you shouldn't be expected to.
And so we will, but that's a good way to set it up. And then during that 15 minutes time, we'll work out, I think, what they need. And then if I think they need to come in for 2 or 3 hours, we'll work out a price.
Okay.
And they pay that invoice before they come in.
And that's great. And you know what? It's all up front.
Yes.
Okay. There's not these nasties, and I've dealt with different companies that when you get the end result, you get the end account, and there's just a lot of little extras about it. When you negotiate beforehand, you know exactly where you are, you pay it up front, away you go, everybody's on the same page. And I think that increases, in my eyes anyway, certainly your trust, right? And trust, when we're dealing about something like this, trust is vitally important, right?
Yes.
So if you have trust in the person that you're talking to, you've knocked that aspect out of the way.
Totally.
You've already got a great
advantage.
The
reason people the reason they come to us is, Jeff, look, we actually don't know a financial advisor that we want to go. We should go and see someone. If we can come and have a chat with you, we can tell you what we need, and if you can pass it on to an advisor that you can recommend, would you be happy to do that? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. It's a conduit, really, to it's a bridge to a barrier. Really.
Yeah. Well put. Very well put.
Yeah.
All right. Look, we're going to wrap up in a few minutes, so I want to just give you the opportunity. Have you got anything that's particularly on the go at the moment that you think that might be really important to talk about? Put you on the spot. I know.
Put me on the spot. Yeah. Look, I think the biggest tip you can have is to face the reality that the next 10 or 15 or 20 years will go very quickly. So I guess the tip of the day is time really flies, and it flies faster the older you get.
It does.
It just does. And you just don't want to be faced with having debt and having not enough capital to fund a financially independent lifestyle. It's a bad look being on the pension. Like, it's $30,000 a year. Try living on that.
You just couldn't.
You can't.
You just couldn't.
It's a killer.
Yeah.
And so you do have to start to think about it, and that's the best thing you can do. You've got to grab your assets, understand what your income is, and have a real desire not to be on the pension.
I love that. That is brilliant advice. It's really because a lot of us were raised with, and there was always that the pension at the end of the rainbow, right? Okay,
Yeah.
when rainbows meant something different back in the day, and people, oh, you'll have that, and kind of the government will look after you. You know,
Yeah.
all your hard work and your taxes you've paid, you'll recover some of your taxes, kind
Yeah.
of thing, almost, right?
Yeah.
Well, that hasn't kept up, and obviously with an aging population and so many other factors, if you haven't got private wealth, you're gonna struggle, and I really, really struggle.
Look at those that are struggling now.
Yeah.
It is terrible.
Thoroughly agree.
It's terrible. And you just need to make sure you don't want to be there.
Oh, looks,
Mm.
it's not a land I want to land in myself.
Yeah.
And also, I'll throw this forward: is you made great financial decisions through your life, done some very smart things, but sometimes circumstances change that for you, right? I
Yes.
mean, that you haven't anticipated or you haven't planned for, but life, it throws some curveballs at you. So.
Mm.
I think the time is now. Like you don't be going, oh, I'll wait till I'm XYZ, age, or oh, look, I'll get to that next week. Get onto it now. Okay,
Yes.
make the call. Get on. Look, I can't recommend you enough. Get onto the website there, contact you, line up the 15-minute appointment, and it'll put you on the sort of the right way forward.
It's a start. It's a start. A positive start in the right direction. Yeah.
Yep. And look, every single journey starts with the first step, mate. So take it. All right, with that, we'll end the show. Look, great to have you here, as I say, mate. I'm looking forward to next week. And I've seen sort of messages coming through all through it. We'll deal with that later on, because it's very hard to keep track of things when it's going to so many different places. It becomes quite a journey. But with that, we'll end, of course, it's Wealth by Design here on Edge Radio Australia.
Thank you.